The mother of a teen injured by a Dallas police horse at the state fair says her son had a seizure and briefly lost consciousness after the incident. The 17-year-old was taken to the hospital Tuesday after an officer lost control of his horse.
Ms. Alston, is there anything that you would like to say?
Yes, get those cameras on my face. You like a cashew.
Did you steal these cars?
Did you?
Prince George's County Police Officer Sierra Alston leaving the Arlington County District Court today after a brief appearance for her arraignment. As we first reported Monday, the rookie cop celebrated by the department last spring in a social media post during Women's History Month.
A road worker who claimed to me he was assaulted by an angry driver was arrested 1 hour before he was able to tell us his story.
It happened in South County Thursday, September 26th, where road crews are repaving sections of Lindbergh. The incident was here at the corner of Lindbergh and Lee May Ferry, where this left turn lane was coned off, and there was a temporary sign in the middle of the road saying no left turn because all of the lanes you see highlighted were closed. A safety worker claimed an angry driver pulled into this blocked off portion and assaulted him. But that worker was arrested right before our interview, charged as the aggressor.
I didn't think this road was going to be very bad.
23-year-old Garrett Gibbs was working for a different contractor nearby.
I watched the argument for probably 10, 15 seconds, and then I noticed that the door was open and the guy was outside of his vehicle. You know, and that's pretty hefty. You know, a guy getting outside of his vehicle in a work zone. You know, it's like somebody coming into your office and causing a problem, you know. He wanted to turn and he kept saying that he was a police officer so he can make that turn.
Gibbs snapped this picture of the driver's car with a temp tag that appears to have expired a few days prior. Gibbs says the car is inside their work zone. You can see the no left turn sign to the right.
You know, in case this dude does something crazy or drives through the work zone, hits somebody, you know, I've got something.
Gibbs said he tried to calm things down.
The off-duty officer then took a swing at one of the workers, the one I was standing in between, and he missed him and he actually hit me. He caught me right in the mouth here.
He described he and two other workers holding the driver until police arrived.
They cuffed him and then we had to go back to work, but they proceeded to talk to him in our work zone because this happened around 10:30. They kept him inside of our work zone until 3 o'clock whenever we picked it up.
After 4.5 hours waiting in that work zone, Gibbs says St. Louis County Police let the man drive off.
I don't believe he was breathalyzed. I don't know if the car was searched or anything. So the officers were informed that we believed he was drunk.
Police say they won't tell us who that off-duty officer was or if he was breathalyzed. Gibbs says he and his co-workers were never questioned. 10 days later, police arrested two of them, Matt Devlin and Donnie Hurley. They're now charged with assault, kidnapping, and armed criminal action.
The record is sealed. It's as if this case does not exist, despite the fact two road workers are now in the St. Louis County Justice Center behind me, facing possibly decades in prison.
The employer for Gibbs and Devlin, NB West, wrote me, "We are deeply concerned about the work zone incident that transpired on the evening of September 26th. In response, we initiated a comprehensive internal investigation to thoroughly understand the circumstances surrounding the events. Our commitment is unwavering to maintain a safe, respectful, and supportive work environment for all employees and the traveling public."
Almost every day it seems like there's a road worker getting killed.
Defendant Matt Devlin's wife, Celeste, thought she would be hearing about the driver.
For violating road construction. There's all kinds of laws that he broke prior to the altercation even happening. You know, he went through all the traffic cones, all the safety devices that these people put up, he went through them.
Despite the fact the record is sealed, the defendants still get their day in court. So I came to see the judge who monitors first appearances and learned that defendant Devlin is being held on a $250,000 cash-only bond, defendant Hurley on a $100,000 cash-only bond, and will return here next week when their attorneys will argue for a bond reduction and the court will have to provide more answers. For the Fox Files, I'm Chris Hayes.
Good morning. Welcome to the Bad Apple Report. It's 7:30 a.m. bright and early right here at home on the range. Thank you so much for being here today, folks. I really appreciate it. We're going to start our day out in Summit County, where a Summit County deputy has been charged with stealing tens of thousands of dollars in overtime. He's now a former Summit County deputy. Check him out. Look at that look. Oh, yeah, that's right. You're in big trouble, and your mama's mad at you. Everybody's mad at you. Okay. Akron, Ohio, a former Summit County deputy was secretly indicted for stealing thousands of dollars in overtime from his employer. However, he claims he didn't do it. Marcelo Thomas was sworn into office at the Summit County Sheriff's Office in September 2021, assigned to work at the jail. Well, less than 3 years later, he'd be charged with stealing tens of thousands of dollars from SCSO. Not in paper money, but in overtime hours. That investigators say he didn't work. Look at that look on his face. I didn't do it. That's funny. Okay. According to this report, detectives reviewed Thomas's cell phone records to determine if he was located near the Summit County Jail, his assigned workplace, during the hours he claimed he was working. Investigators state for the pay period of December 18th, 2023 through December 31st, 2023, Thomas's cell phone records indicated that he was in the North Cleveland Massillon Road area during that time, which is approximately 7.8 miles away from the jail. Well, the report states Thomas submitted a timesheet claiming to have worked 60 hours of overtime. But records show he didn't respond to radio traffic, had no card swipes entering or leaving the jail, and he was not on daily assignment schedule during that period. Well, where did those 60 hours come from there, dude? Okay, the Summit County Grand Jury indicted Thomas on July 16th, 2024, stating Thomas was paid $21,157.23 for 380 hours of fraudulent overtime. Whoa. Why don't we just buy you a brand new truck, you knucklehead? Okay, investigators say between December 1st, 2023 and May 5th, 2024, Thomas submitted time slips with forged initials and signatures of supervisors on 57 separate occasions. Well, they'll never know if you just put somebody else's name. That's how that works. Duh. Knucklehead. In addition to a charge of theft in office, Thomas is charged with attempted theft in office for trying to steal another 130 hours, totaling $7,846. He's persistent, you guys. Thomas is also charged with 10 counts of tampering with records, totaling 12 felony counts. According to the report, Thomas' supervisors say they didn't sign off on his overtime. However, when questioned by investigators, Thomas maintained that they did. Thomas pleaded not guilty to the charges this past May. Thomas resigned from the SCSO while under investigation. His second pretrial hearing is scheduled for November 5th, coming right up, at the Summit County Common Pleas Court. Okay, well, he's probably out right now watching the Bad Apple Report. Ooh, they're going to put me on the cover. That's right. We're going to put this goofy Bad Apple right on the cover. You guys are awesome for being here. Thanks for being here, and on with the show.
Even though this officer is charged with unauthorized use of just 3 vehicles, the investigation which led to her was touched off when the rental car company realized that they had 30 cars stolen from their lot at Reagan National Airport. And I'm going to tell you, after this hearing today, the officer was in no mood to answer our questions. Was arrested last week after being charged by Washington Metropolitan Airport Authority police with unauthorized use of 3 BMWs stolen from the 6th rental car company at Reagan National Airport. Now, we know from court documents that her charges stem from an investigation into 30 cars stolen from the company's lot. Alston was tied to 3 of them when her police jacket and documents were found in one, her phone connected to Bluetooth in a second, and she was seen with the 3rd BMW in D.C. police body cam footage. It's also alleged when confronted by an investigator last spring, she claimed she had taken an Uber and lost her jacket. When told that car was in front of her house, it's alleged she claimed she didn't live there. Alston has been on light duty since last April. Sources say it is because of her pregnancy. She is now suspended without pay.
Get those cameras out my face. Thank you.
Bro, watch out!
Okay. We have a Mississippi officer used excessive force against a man he arrested, prosecutors say. Wow, it's got a ring to it, you guys. Okay, Jackson, Mississippi. A Mississippi law enforcement officer allegedly used excessive force against a man he arrested earlier this year by striking him with the hand grip of the taser and kicking him in the head. Ooh, while the man was handcuffed to a bench. Oh, come on. According to a federal indictment unsealed Thursday. can't get away with that, bro. Okay, Simpson County Sheriff's Deputy Adrian Durr. Oh, goodness. Age 43 of McGee is charged with deprivation of civil rights under the color of law, punishable with up to 10 years in prison. Oh, Adrian Durr. Wonder if he's ever committed murder. Durr pleaded not guilty during an initial court appearance Thursday before a U.S. Magistrate Judge in Jackson. His attorney, Michael Corey, said, "Oh, it's going to be good. There's more to the story. We're just going to have to let the process play out," Corey told the Associated Press by phone. Oh, by phone, eh? Well, the trial of Durr, who may have committed murder somewhere along the line, I don't know. I'm not a legend. He's still employed with the Sheriff's Department, so everybody be on the lookout for Durr. Okay, set for trial December 2nd. All righty, Durr, Adrian, age 43, goofball. We're going to keep up with that guy.
Logan was having a mental crisis incident. Instead of shooting him, they should have talked him down, and he was not talked down.
A family in mourning now crying out for help. This all comes after 18-year-old Logan Kilpatrick was shot and killed by Tipton County deputies this past weekend.
Now the family not only wants answers into what happened, but also an apology on the way they claim they've been treated.
WREG's Brian Diddley speaks exclusively with the family.
Not good. My wife's not good. My daughter's not good.
The emotion, almost too much for Ronnie Kilpatrick. He shares with WREG the family is confused and needs answers since the loss of 18-year-old Logan Kilpatrick.
I just want to know why they let my son lay there for those hours on the ground and why they treated us like they did.
Logan was shot and killed by deputies in Quito Estates this past Sunday. Tipton County Sheriff Shannon Beasley says when deputies arrived, Logan was making suicidal threats and refused to cooperate. He says shots were eventually fired by a deputy in Kilpatrick.
They pushed my 17-year-old granddaughter, and all we were doing was asking for questions if my grandson was deceased or alive.
Louise Brown, Logan's grandmother, says multiple family members had confrontations with deputies leading to threats of jail time. She shares this picture of a bruise on her daughter-in-law's arm.
They told us they couldn't tell us anything, that they had an officer that was involved, and their concerns was more with that officer.
Brown says they've heard from the medical examiner, but nothing from Tipton County or the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. She says she knows her grandson, and it's not the image painted by deputies.
He was not on drugs. He just had a mental breakdown over a breakup with a girl. And that's all I know.
For now, the family says they'll remember Logan as the mild-mannered high school graduate who was set to start his apprenticeship for sheet metal and HVAC maintenance.
He's been taken away from us in a senseless act. I think it was unjustifiable. I really do. And I'm going to get to the bottom of this.
Riverdale police officers, that means multiple of them, are accused of hitting a restrained man during an arrest. In lawsuit, okay, and video. I wonder if it's a police training video, you know. I thought I was going to get killed. Abraham Carmichael suffered fractured nose and ribs, several bruises, the lawsuit says. Goodness. Okay, Riverdale, Illinois. Video of this incident might be triggering for some. South suburban police officers are accused of using excessive force, hitting a man several times during an arrest. Dashcam video captured the incident, and the man is now suing Riverdale police, and he's speaking out. Abraham Carmichael said he needs several surgeries to correct and recover from these injuries after a run-in with two Riverdale police officers earlier this year, okay? The lawsuit filed against those officers, and their department says Carmichael suffered from emotional anxiety, fear, and humiliation. Now he's calling for justice. I felt like I was a punching bag, like a UFC punching bag, Carmichael said. Whoa. Police dashcam video from the February incident obtained by Carmichael's legal team appears to show a Riverdale police officer hitting Carmichael several times, while Carmichael's hands appear to stay behind his back. He just grabbed me, slammed me against the car, Carmichael said. I felt something hitting me on my nose, and it probably knocked me out for like a couple of seconds. Just moments beforehand, Carmichael said he was taking his girlfriend's car to get it fixed by a friend. He ran into a man he said he doesn't know and started a conversation. That's when he said 2 Riverdale police officers blocked the alley to arrest the man before quickly involving Carmichael. I kept asking him what was going on. What did I do wrong? Carmichael said. Carmichael's legal team showed ABC 7 Chicago the police report from the incident, and it said there was use of force by officers, defining it as defensive tactics. Cops. Oh, I don't know how you can defend yourself against a person whose hands are they're on the car, Carmichael said. Okay, Carmichael said police called an ambulance and he was taken to the hospital. Lawsuits against Riverdale police officers and the police department and the 2 officers said Carmichael was left with a fractured nose, ribs, and several bruises. Carmichael said the day plays on repeat in his mind. I can imagine. I've been scared. They bother my family. I got to take all these medicines now. It's unreal. It's unreal, Carmichael said. I thought I was going to get killed. Carmichael said he thought after being treated at the hospital, he'd get to go home, but instead he was charged with resisting arrest and obstructing of justice. His lawyer said Carmichael initially pleaded not guilty, but the state's attorney's office later dropped the charges. If they doing this to me, they did it to someone else. What are we waiting on? We have a ticking time bomb running the streets, Carmichael said. And we know that. That's what we do here on the Bad Apple Report, is we expose these goofballs. Okay, ABC 7 Chicago is not naming either of the officers named in the lawsuit because they have not been charged with any wrongdoing. Naturally. Neither the Riverdale Police Department nor the officers named in the lawsuit immediately responded to requests for comment. The department also did not say if any disciplinary action was taken after Carmichael's arrest. We have to do something about the situation because this is going to affect my kids the way I raised them, Carmichael said. This is important, y'all. It's true. Carmichael, a father of 5, said he wants a world where his children can walk free of fear. With months of surgeries, counseling, and recovery time ahead of him, he hopes his story does just that. I'm thanking God because justice can try to get served, Carmichael said. We're going to hope it gets served. Carmichael's legal team said Carmichael spoke with the Riverdale chief of police after the incident. He was told the department did not believe the officers' actions needed discipline. Well, there's a lawsuit now, and we'll just see what a jury thinks, okay? But that's the story on the Riverdale police officers accused of hitting a restrained man during the arrest.
The State Fair of Texas is an annual tradition for the Macharia family.
So we go every year.
The family of 5 took a photo in front of a little Big Tex on Tuesday. But when it went to take a photo in front of Big Tex,
I could hear an impact behind me, so I turned around.
Dallas police say a mounted police officer was patrolling Big Tex Circle when the horse was startled. The officer tried to regain control of the horse, but was bucked off.
The crowd started screaming. That's when I turned. I saw the horse run. So my son is on the floor.
Esther Macharia says her 17-year-old son, Ian Macharia, was injured by the horse. She says her son had a seizure for the first time in his life after being knocked to the ground and lost consciousness.
And he was seizing. He was moving his hands. His eyes were rolling back and forth. Then he just closed his eyes and just passed out.
Cell phone video recorded by Ian's father shows Ian being placed onto a stretcher before police say he went to a hospital.
We want to get more answers. We want to find out exactly why this happened. We want to get justice for this family, and we want to make sure this doesn't happen again.
Attorney Ramez Shamia represents Ian and his mother. He believes mounted police officers are unnecessary at the fair.
Yeah, I think in this specific scenario, I think it's a little over the top. I think it's all for show.
And I think it's all for show. I mean, it's all for the show. You guys are awesome. Thank you for being here for the show. You guys have built the show. That's true. One like at a time, one comment at a time. I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. You know what I'm going to do. I'm going to whip up another batch of bad apples just for you. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. bright and early. Have a great day, folks.